Big up URT. Who are we? URT. Big up the therapy army, man. Big up. Big up Lesso for being here. Big up to all of you. Love and light. And yeah. Big up to everybody, wherever you are in the world tonight. Just want to start off by saying I want to send love and light to the community around Vulcan Mosque in Manchester, Mosside. Sending love. Tragic thing took place there. I'm just sending them love to the people there in the community. But big up everybody. And welcome. We've got a lot to discuss tonight. We're going to be reacting, obviously. Had 2 days off. Busy weekend. Reacting to Amorim'S interview, which was a really super impressive interview. We're going to talk about that, the implications, what that means in terms of like, he's a very good communicator and he's going to tell everybody what he wants from them. So that's the reason why we're on Fraud Watch. That's the reason why we want to tell it as it is when it comes to shit like this. But big up to everybody. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Also, the Pogba thing for me was there was nothing in it. Big up ITN. There was nothing in that for me. It was all a hullabaloo, if you ask me. So, yeah, I'm not about that. Lesso, how are you? How's Southern Africa, bro?
It's all good, man. It's all good. The weather's fine. We're heading into that summer period, busy time, you know. And yeah, it's that family time, you know how it is. And yeah, now overall everything has been okay, but hectic, you know. But yeah, overall, you know, everyone's smiling. Obviously, and we also have like this sort of thing that's happening, but yeah, but it will sort itself out. But overall, yeah, shout out to the community. Shout out, please smash the like buttons, people. The show is shadow banned as usual. But yeah, it's all about being real on this show. So big up to everyone.
Yeah, big up. Big up to everybody. Love and like people. Yeah, it's really interesting over the news here. How Amorim gonna run the majority of these players? I'm nervous. Only he can shift out players. He will succeed. Yeah, definitely. And that's why we're on Fraud Watch, ITN. But yeah, we'll just wait for people to get in here. Hopefully Sean will join us. Hopefully Jarvis will join us. And yeah, a couple other people will join us. So big up to everybody. But yeah, it's been very interesting. Any international South Africa play today? Tomorrow?
I think they're gonna play tomorrow. We've already qualified for the AFCON, so you know, funny enough, before we even kicked the ball. So yeah, I'm just basically looking forward to actually watching an AFCON with South Africa in it as well. You know, it's the first time in a long time we've qualified for 2 of them, straight off the bat. You know, yeah. So yeah, big up to the guys, man.
What do you think about your World Cup qualification? What do you think about that? Where are you with that?
Yeah, it's very tough. It's very tough, but I believe these guys can do it. You know, the new manager that we have, you know, he clearly came in with a plan. Than the previous managers that were here, he knew very well that we actually had young players that we're not utilizing at all, and we had players playing all over the world that we're not calling up to the national team because of politics. But right now, he's utilizing everyone that he possibly can. He's going by merit. He's not picking players that are not playing. He's basically, you know, bringing players who are on form and actually producing for their club. So it's no longer about your name and how big you are. It's about your performances on the pitch consistently. So that's what's helped us, you know, and yeah.
That's interesting. That's really interesting. Big up, Jarvis.
Big up. Big up. I'm all good. All good.
Must be happy Norway spanked Uzbekistan 5-0.
Yeah, it was a good game. Holland scored 3 goals, but the guy who impressed me the most is,
Kyrgyzstan, sorry, Kyrgyzstan.
Kazakhstan. Yeah. No, Holland scored a hat trick. Solot, the Atletico Madrid striker, scored a goal, and Antonio Nusa again scored a goal. 2 assists on that guy, young kid, 19-year-old winger, dribbler. They call him the Neymar of Scandinavia, so he's extremely good. He's worth a closer look if you don't know who Antonio Nusa is, who plays at Leipzig. Really good player. So yeah, and the good thing is Austria and Slovenia they drew. So Norway won their group in the Nations League. So we are qualified for Group A next season. So then we will play against Italy, France, England, Spain, all the big guys. So it will be funny, and we automatically get a chance in the playoffs if we don't qualify in the World Cup qualifier next year. So it's all good now, actually, with Norway. Things are really cooking.
Yeah, that's really good. You think you're going to qualify for the World Cup, Jarvis?
Well, I think we have a good chance now, but we will be difficult as always, and we are butlers. We never qualify. We are almost there all the time. So I don't know. I don't want to get.
I think you've got enough. I think you've got players enough to qualify. I genuinely think.
Sure, we do. We have a lot of good players, quality players. And as I mentioned, you all know Haaland and Odegaard, but we have Sander Berge, Antonio Nusa, Oscar Bob, and other guys who plays in Spain. Sørloth, who plays in Atletico Madrid. We have Strand Larsen, the guy who is striker for Wolves. So we have a lot of good strikers. We have, I would say, Ryerson, the guy who plays the fullback at Dortmund. So yeah, a lot of good guys. But it's about getting them to play together as a team, and yeah, the coach haven't been able to do that so far. But now we won the group, so hopefully we can do it.
Yeah. No, definitely. That's an interesting take, but I genuinely do think you just need a better manager to be able to qualify.
Yeah, I agree. I want Solskjaer. Solskjaer for me. I think he could do it.
Yeah, I think he could as well. Yeah. I think he could do it. Yeah.
So guys, you got to remember to smash the like, and if you haven't, go to Twitter on Nuruddin's tweet and retweet the promo for the show, because we need more guys in here. It's just about 50 guys, so smash the like.
Yeah, smash the like, people. I'm just sorting out the banner, but yeah, we're discussing. So let's get into it. We're discussing the Ruben Amorim's interview. And I want to know what you guys were on, like what did you guys think? And I'll go to Lesso first.
No, definitely. Impressive choice of words to use. Unfortunately, those are gonna put him under pressure. But I think I'd rather have someone who's upfront and knows what they want and expect from the team. I think he's echoing more or less the conversation that he had with Barada and Ashworth, and more or less on what the club wants to achieve. And you can tell the way and the choice of words that he used that the club is clearly aiming to win the big trophies again. And they also, they probably told him to hit the ground running as well. He needs to find it quickly. We're not in a good position to achieve what we initially want to achieve at the moment. So there has to be changes that they will back him on. You can clearly see that they're going to back him. Barada comes from a place where, let's not forget, he's backed every manager that has come through. He's enabled a manager to be able to get rid of players that were not good enough previously with other managers. And if the manager says that he wants certain players out, he will be able to get them out. So that's also, I think, one of the discussions held, obviously, there. And, in order to obtain these objectives, you got to do what you got to do. There's no sparing anyone. I don't think there's people think there's going to be clean slate for players. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think every player will be individually, as I said, assessed. And if they do not meet what the manager requires, then they will be shipped off. At this football club, things have changed. Clearly you can see that the mentality and the way that we're going to move forward, it has changed. So, like I said before, even before he signed, sealed, and delivered, I said that he has to earn his time. He said it himself. That's the funny part. He has to earn the time to be here longer. That is why they gave him the 2.5-year contract. They didn't give him the 4 or 5, because they're telling it to him. They're telling him, this is a challenge. Go for it. We're going to give you all the tools you need to succeed. We're going to be with you all the way. But you also have to earn your results, and you have to earn your time. Just like at any other top club, you have to earn your time. You're not just given time. So I like the fact that he has actually reiterated that himself, so that people don't say we said it. So he himself understands what time it is. He said it himself, that he understands that what he's walking into. So, if we can just get players aligned, and we can get these players behind whatever he has planned, I think we do have a chance. We do have a decent crop of players. So, it's about whether they want to get into this to actually follow his instructions or not. But that's yet to be seen. But at least in the summer, he'll have the virtue to say, you know what, I tried it, you saw it, I had a system, and they could not fit. So this is what I require. And they'll support him on that. And that's how I leave it. But big good words. And it gives me it gives me something to put my belief behind and get behind him as well. But yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, Jarvis, what did you think about the interview?
Yeah, it's they just give a presentation of Amorim, and we get to know him a little bit. I liked what he said about Ronaldo called him the poet, and he said he do that because I speak from the heart. I really like that, because I think we need that type of personality, someone who speaks from the heart, who's honest and in their approach, not a politician. Because I think I had too many of them in Man United in the last 10, 12 years. So yeah, and I like his energy. He's smiling. He looks happy. He looks like he belongs in this club. He mentions Jason Wilcox, Dan Ashworth, and the training coaches, and he likes to work in a team. I think it's very positive. But I also liked what he said about the youth. He said something about putting pressure on the youth. If you play for Man United, you have to be ready. He's not going to wait for them. They have to perform right away, and I think that's a good thing. I have thought about it many times. I don't quite understand why we wait so long, and by throwing the youth in and then letting them have a chance. I think we are too cautious because it's very strange, because we give the youth so much money at a young age, but we don't play them. And when you receive a lot of money, you get all the unwanted attention from people around who wants to have a grab of the fame and fortune of the player, but they don't get to perform on the pitch. So suddenly it all becomes on the money. It's not about performing on the pitch. So I think we have to level it out, stop giving the youth guys the big talents, big contract at a young age, and let them earn it wait until they play and then we give them the contracts, because in United we have been doing it the other way around, and you see players like Hannibal and other players that comes in and they are like superstars before they have played 1 minute for Man United, and this got to stop. And I want to see the youth get a chance, and I hope Amorim, because I know by his time at the Sporting, he played, I think it gave 21 guys their debut, teenagers. And I think that tells a lot. And I really hope that he has the courage to do that in Man United, because we are a club with a tradition, with young kids coming in, and they are not afraid. They have the courage. We have seen it before, so we can do it. And I really hope that he just, if one of the more established players doesn't perform, don't let them play. Bring in the youth, let them play. That's the way I want to see it. And I believe in Amorim. So yeah, that's what I got from the interview.
Big up everybody. Yeah. What did I get from the interview? I thought it was one of the most honest, enthusiastic, passionate interviews from a manager that I've seen in a long time. None of the things I look back on some of the questions, some of the answers, and I didn't think any of it was rehearsed. I really thought he was talking genuinely from the heart. And that is, if somebody's that good, you could think that how good he is with the players. So I allowed myself to get excited. But like I said on my tweet, talk is cheap. And now I'm on Ineos fraud watch because some of these players we all know are not going to be able to respond to this. They're set in their ways. We understand that. We know that. And I'll be shocked if some of them need to be out. They need to be replaced. So they have to back their guy now. Ineos have to back their guy. He's got the energy. He's at the right age. He's got the temperament. One of the most really fascinating things he said is, you're going to see identity straight away. From the first game. He said, you're not going to see the complete picture. We need time, but you're going to see something. And then he also said, when he asked about the young players, just because they're young, that doesn't mean that we can't win. That doesn't mean that we can't compete. Because there should be, at this level at Manchester United, there should be. And I thought the other fascinating thing was that he said, we saw the video of him being shown around the trophy room. We've all took the tour, I think. Well, I can go on a tour every other day, you know what I mean? I have gone it with friends who come from different countries who want to go, and that's the thing that we do. But yeah, he is. It's fascinating, like what he said, and then he also said about, big up to the guy who interviewed him as well, because he was quite honest. He was like, if people can see something, you get more time, and that's the biggest thing. Look at my first video at Amorim. I was like, welcome to Manchester United. Can you show us something to get behind? That's the most important thing for me. Amorim, can you show something the fan base who are disillusioned? And we're so disillusioned that we think all the players are crap. All the managers are crap. Our owners are obviously, truth is that the owners are crap. Yeah. You know what I mean? We've been right about that one, but we are right about some of the players. And we're right about some of the coaches or managers who can. But I have to remind people, I think in 100-something, 50-something years, 30-something years, 40-something years. This is the first time Manchester United have employed first-team coach. He's not the actual manager. The management will be done by Ineos. So this idea now anymore, throwing the first-team coach, he's just a first-team coach. The blame of what's going on, the atmosphere, the culture in the football club has to be on Ineos. It's their creation, it's their baby now. They've got their guy, and he looked very excited. So yeah, I thought he answered majority of the questions. And you know what? I watched it 3-4 times because I was thinking, is it edited? You know what I mean? He said a little skips, but it wasn't. It wasn't, because he spoke very natural. Do you know what I mean? So definitely. But like I say, talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than fucking words, especially on football. So
100%.
The fact that he's saying you're going to see something from the first game, and that we want to develop a distinct way of playing, tells me something. Yeah, this could be the right guy for us. But big up to everybody. Big up to Kuljero. Big up. He says here, no, already big up. The idea Rashford can play number 9 is delusional. Aspects of it, I do think of it. I actually think he doesn't like playing there. He doesn't. We're gonna come to the Pogba thing in a minute, people. You love to know my opinions, but big up to everybody. Yeah, you can get to this. Yeah. But yeah, big up to everybody. Let me just get the super chat. Hater says, Nuruddin, what do you think about the rumours regarding United amongst the teams in the running to bid for Israeli player Oscar Glau? I would not fucking like that, mate. I'll tell you that for fucking starters. Unless he comes out and he says, I'm not down with the fucking genocide. Then I can't. But I'm not down with that, mate. You'll never hear me singing any of his names or anything, mate. Trust me. I will not fucking be having that. Do you think Rasmus feels the pressure of Gorkers? Or how do you think he'll be dealt with? Now, I don't think we need to get on Gorkers. I don't think we need that. I think we need to develop our players and have a bit of faith in the young players, like Rasmus. I think he's been unfairly treated. If you looked at his goal to shot ratio, is quite high. It's one of the best, actually, for somebody his age. I always remind people, when Drogba was the same age as Rasmus, he was playing in French League 2.
Yeah.
So strikers develop. It comes with experience.
100%. They do.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Mr. B. Big up. Nuruddin, do you still realise Ineos you'll soon realise Ineos aren't frauds? Well, I hope they prove me wrong. But they messed me about already for fucking 3 months while they could have done what they've done. We could have been in the journey now of Amorim or another coach. But they took the piss. We all know where it was going to end up. As soon as they started interviewing other managers, we knew this was only going to end up one way or the other. So, yeah. You know where we stand about that. But yeah, in terms of the questions that he answered, just going back into what he was saying, yeah, I thought the identity, that idea of it, it's not even about the style of play, it's about character. And I talked about this loads with you two and the rest of you, Therapy Army. I've said that, I told you for years that the training ground culture is rotten. I told you for a long time that players used to come to Manchester United and used to see it as an opportunity to make themselves to a global superstars. But in the last 12, when the bankers took hold of took the steering wheel, they turned it into a place where everybody comes to get paid and put their feet fucking on the table. So this is what he has to create. But I thought one of his answers was fascinating when he said he played in every position other than a goalkeeper and striker. He's been a substitute. So he says there's nothing his players could tell him about what they're going through. He knows every situation. And it's not like he was in 60 years ago or he was doing it like 40 years ago, 30 years ago. He was doing it less than 10 years ago. He was in these kind of things in modern football. So that I thought was the most fascinating answer that he gave. The most fascinating answer he gave.
Yeah, do you think that's the strength from Amorim, that he knows the game and it's so fresh in mind? You know, he's been playing recently high level, played for the Portuguese national team, and you know, he knows a lot of these players from a player perspective also. So he knows what goes around behind the scenes, in the locker room, behind the manager's back. So he knows all the tricks in the books because it's so fresh. It's not like he's 70 years old and just been coaching. And I think that's a really big strength of Amorim. You've seen it with other teams. We have with young coaches. You have, for example, Brighton now with what's his name, Hasenhüttl. No,
not Hasen.
No.
What's the Bright? I'll find the name for you.
You know who I'm talking about. But other young managers, I think it's very important. I think, especially in a club like Man United, because a lot of these players, I think they can easily turn their back on the manager and smile to him in his face, and the second he walks, they will talk behind his back. We know this group of players are toxic, and I think Amorim will be aware of that. And
this is
also,
the thing. I think it was a massive message to them. It was like, I will defend you against anybody. But he said it's about teamwork. So that once you're going to moan about being on the bench or not being on a match day squad, he said, I've been through all that. So I'm not here for that.
He won't accept it.
Yeah.
He mentioned a lot of the time team players.
He said team. And that was the biggest thing. And that basically means something we've not had. No manager has been able to do any of that. No manager. Consistently, no coach, or manager has been able to do that bit of the work. But like I said, this is on Ineos. I repeat, it's on Ineos to back him up when he says this rotten, stinking the place out. They need to go, right, go and train with the kids. You're not buying into the ether. He said it's fun, but teamwork, hard work. That's what.
Yeah, but Northern, we have to put some realism
into it. By the way,
the
young coach. By the way, the young coach is Fabian Hustler.
Hustler, yeah, that's his name. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. I just want to say we got to remember it's not that easy as it easy. It's easier done than said. No, it's easier said than done because we have a lot of these players on big contracts that are unsellable. For us to get rid of Luke Shaw, for example, we have to take a gigantic loss on him on releasing his contract, and we can't do that. We don't have the money, and we have a lot of these players. Let's say Casemiro. If you don't want to go, who's going to buy Casemiro on 350k a week? No one. So they are staying. Are the Ineos regime prepared to put players like Luke Shaw, Casemiro on the 21s? Let them rot. Are they? I don't think so. That's
have to go. Problem. Well, this is what I was saying. Where we're on fraud watch, Jarvis. They have to. Yeah. They have to return and leave. Omar Barada. By the way, you can see it's Omar Barada appointment. Actually, Omar Barada, and it was Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox who went out to meet him and stuff.
He mentioned Omar specifically.
Yeah. So in the sense that, what do you think what Jarvis is saying? Do you think Ineos will be strong enough to basically bin some of the players and just make the loss on them? Because we're going to make loss on both of them. One of them is injury prone. The other one, it's not that many years left. Yeah.
No, I think with Casemiro, I think he's the more likely to be able to be, sold. Saudi Arabia, they're always looking for, the Saudi League are always looking for such players. He was linked anyways as well in the summer. So if you can get, if he can continue playing until the end of the season and he puts on a decent form, I think you can sell him. With Luke Shaw, I think when it comes to what can help us get rid of Luke Shaw is his passport. Let's not forget that the quota is still in place, the English quota. So any club is always looking at that. So they'll pick him up, even if he's if we said we will have to take a massive loss, obviously, because he doesn't play. But I think he can go. I think the likes of West Ham will still be open for such players, including even Mason Mount. So these players you can actually get rid of them. It's just that you're gonna take a loss, unfortunately, because they have that certain thing, inserted with them, that comes with them. So it's gonna be hard, but they have to be watched, obviously. Like I said, if they said they're gonna back him, then they clearly told him something. They clearly told him that if this player or that player doesn't suit you, we'll get rid of him and we'll replace him with someone that you may feel, that may fit into your system long term. So time will tell, like I say. But I think, like I say, if Barada is not getting the full Vetu as well as Ashworth, they walk. Because there are people who work on integrity more than anything else, and reputation. They have a reputation to protect. So if the club in itself, if Ineos do not give them the power that they necessarily need to make this club a success, they will walk. You will see that by them walking, so that's why I'm a bit kind of, not too stressed about it, because I know Ineos would not want to lose those two. anyways. So that's why I'm a bit sort of I'd say a bit confident that decisions will be made, and very harsh decisions will be made. People will see a lot of heads roll. If this thing doesn't, if we don't do well this season, and even if we do well, I think heads will still roll because the club anyways wants to cut on wages, and so they will be looking at players who are on these high wages, and if they meet these high wages in terms of the performances, those two have to go together. So if none of those two are not going together, so I see some of these players leaving as a result. They're cutting costs at the moment. We're gonna see shocking decisions. So just people need to be prepared for that. We actually have people who are competent. It's just a matter of giving them the power to do so.
Yeah, but the problem, Lesso, is, for example, Luke Shaw is on almost £8 million a year in his contract, and his contract expires in 30th of June 2027. So it's a long time. For us to, for example, try to get rid of him, that will cost us between 15 to 20 million pounds. I don't think we can do that. And if we sell him, maybe we can sell him to a club on free, but we have to compensate him for the salary. No one will give him 150, 200k a week. They will probably at max give him 70, 80 pounds a week if he goes to another club, and we have to compensate him for the remainder of his contract. So it will at least cost us 10 million pounds to get rid of Luke Shaw, for example. And that's money we don't have, because we are on a basis where we have to sell before we can buy players. We saw it this summer transfer window. One of the biggest problems was, for example, Ineos. They made a Glazer-esque move, avoiding the responsibility of addressing the squad deficiencies. We didn't sign the left back. We have been playing without the left back since the beginning of the season, or all of last season too. And we still don't have a left back. Malacia is back in training. So this is a big problem. We don't do the bits. We are talking about Ineos being ruthless and doing the right stuff, but the reality of the club is we are in deep shit, to say the least. We have to sell players before we can buy players, and it's impossible to sell players because of their wages. So it's a deadlock. So this is the biggest problem, and it's very hard for Ineos to solve this. I don't know why, but they have to be able to take a loss. They have to throw the money on the table and say, okay, get rid.
But to be fair, I hear your point. But to be fair, let's not forget that Barada and Ashworth hadn't started. So by the time these decisions were made, and so with them now here and being able to operate in the way they want to, I think we may be seeing a bit of, we may be seeing a different types of decisions being made now. At that time it was still, Ratcliffe and, Sir Braisworth that were making decisions, as well as, so it wasn't really them. They hadn't yet integrated Barada and Ashworth into that setup. So maybe we may see, I don't know, we may see a different approach now going forward, because I'm sure they will tell them that they need to take a couple of losses now in order for us to move forward. These mistakes need to be eradicated of. If you don't do that, then it becomes even worse going forward. So, rather do it now than do it later. In the sense.
But the reality of the situation is what it is, and for me, it looks like the strategy is to wait out and run down the contracts and release people and then sign players, and that will take a lot of time. And if they do that with Amorim, that's not hardly backing him in a way. So if this is the strategy going forward, it will be a tough couple of years for Amorim, because he will be forced to play with players like Luke Shaw, who can't be trusted because he's always injured, and Lindelof and other players that we know are butlers. But this is the reality of the situation. So I don't know if Ineos can solve this, but at least it will take time, and it's up to us as fans to accept it and back Amorim and be patient, or not, because I'm not sure how it will go down. But I don't see Ineos magically with the magic wand taking out millions of pounds out of the wall just to pay players, because we don't have the money. That's the biggest problem at the moment. And this is how I see the situation. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we have some secret credit card laying around and we can do this. I don't know.
Well, we've got a broke billionaire in it, so
Yeah.
maybe he'll win a little bit of thing. 60 million his company apparently makes, but it is what it is. 60 billion, not million, 60 billion. Big up to Sean. Sean, big up to you. Welcome.
Big up to you.
I hope all is well in sunny California. Yeah, I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Actually, in sunny Florida right now.
You're in sunny. Oh, okay, brilliant. Took a nice trip down there.
Yeah, it's for work. But yeah, nice trip nonetheless.
Okay. How long's the flight from Florida to California?
It's about 5.5 hours.
5.5 hours. Wow.
Yeah, no.
That's like me going to Eastern Europe, I think. Maybe further afield.
It's America for you, right? Big ass country.
A continent, continent. Yeah. The US.
Yeah.
US. So your first reaction to Amorim'S impressive interview. Even I was impressed, Sean. You'll be shocked. Even I was like, it's like he almost reads my mind. He was saying all the things, but like I said, talk's cheap, innit? It's time now, Ineos, to back their guy, and if that means then people have to get the big run out of the club, then so be it. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was impressed now. Right, I was impressed. He seems like he knows what he's talking about. He seems confident. One edge that he has over the previous manager is that his command of English appears to be better, so he can at least communicate with the players. He seems to have charisma. But I would say the thing that is most impressive to me is his sense of, I guess, realism. He's not over-promising. He's not committing to anything, unrealistic. He kind of caveats that, people should not expect too much, but at least we'll see an identity. So I like everything I heard from him. Confident, secure, knows what he's saying. Seems like a charming person, right? And I think Bruno made the point in his interview as well that sometimes all you need is somebody to change the vibe, quote unquote, of the dressing room, and that makes much of a difference. So I think that vibe, quantifiable. Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. That kind of quantifiable vibe aspect of things, I think, is really something, because he just just a beam of energy, always smiling. Everybody seems happy around him. Long may it last. But yeah, I wouldn't draw too much, honestly, from this interview, because this is where my own PTSD kicks in the sense that he's not the first impressive manager that we've heard from. Right? I think his commitment to show an identity. I think it seems like he's learning from the mistakes of the previous manager, basically. Yeah. So
look. This to me. This is what I've been always saying. This to me was like, boom. The reason why I was getting a bit excited was this. He says, we know we need time, but we have to earn it. Winning matching means earning time. The most important thing for me is identity. From day one, we'll start with our identity.
No, I can only hope that it works in his favor, right? I really just hope it works.
Of course, yeah.
I just hope it works.
But what I like, I think the interview, because some of them are away, and of course some of them were paying attention. It was for the players as well, Sean. That was the clever thing about this. The other quote was that I will defend my players against anyone. So it's almost like he's already setting up saying, I will defend you against anybody. He said, I will defend you against everybody. But when you go out there, you can't show me up. So for me to back you, you need to back yourself and back me. It's a two-way thing. It's not a one-way thing. But go ahead, Sean.
No, yeah, but we fundamentally differ on this principle, right? I don't want to be Andy Postecoglou. I don't want to be winning one day, losing the next, and taking solace in how our style of play. That matters less to me than winning games and winning 3 points. So I really hope it works out, because I think I don't want a situation where Amorim is having to tell us to be patient, basically, or having to bide our time with bad results, because I don't think it's sustainable. I hope we can get the best of both worlds. I hope we can get the best of a style of play, an identity, and also results on the pitch. And I think that's where the manager's own I think like executive sense comes in, right? So don't wait till the 80th minute to make a sub, impact the games, things like that. But it's really exciting, honestly. Like I can't wait to see him in training. I can't wait to see the first pictures that come out. But for me, yeah, it's really the result is the most important thing, and I hope he appreciates it as well. That we need to put points on the board, basically, considering where we are on the table.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, listen, Barcelona were nowhere as shit as Manchester United. Barcelona, not this season, the season before, won the fucking league with Xavi. That's the reason why they didn't. And actually, one big thing about Xavi, he got through a lot of the players for a lot of the youth team. La Masia production came out, and then he gave them the opportunity, and they were ready. And Hans Flick built on that by giving the younger players, and we always saying it, when you give a group of young players a really good chance, and there's 3 or 4 or 5 of them, they will take it. They will take it, but he created. Yeah. No, definitely. I think, like I said, we can only be excited. But for me, Ruben Amorim is going to fail if Ineos don't back him. And that's the debate that we've been having on here before you joined us, son. Because all
back
this
him
talk is cheap. If he's left, if certain players are not on board with his ideas and they're making trouble for him, if they're not being taken out the team or loaned out at the soonest, the earliest time, then his plan is going to fail. He's going to fail. Yeah, he's going to fail. And that's why he's the first team coach and we can't put everything on him. Manchester United no longer have a manager. They have a first team coach. The management of the football club is with Ineos, Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox. Those are the 3 people. Dodgy Dave, Jim the Rat, and that Blanc guy. They're the people who are running Manchester United Football Club.
But nothing we've seen so far suggests that they wouldn't back him now, right? So it does seem like, and I was listening to somebody talk about how even with the signings that we made in the summer, it already seemed like Ineos were making signings with a view to plug and play a manager, or plug and play a head coach. So everything right now suggests that they would back him. I think especially because this appears to be Omar Barada's baby. The new Ineos structure that has come in, I think a lot of the reticence they had behind backing Ten Hag was that he wasn't their own signing, so maybe they wanted to see how it would play out. Something. But I fully expect that they would back Amorim, and I think Amorim himself too has to apply wisdom. So I think as a young 39-year-old manager, he might probably be able to relate to this generation of players in a way that 50-year-old Ten Hag, 60-year-old Mourinho, overly milquetoast, no offense, Jarvis, like Norwegian Ole Gunnar Solskjaer could not, right? Maybe Amorim is more cosmopolitan and might be able to get the best out of these group of players, in a way that other managers could not. But yeah, no, I wouldn't worry about me personally. I'm not really worried about Ineos not backing him because I think this is their project.
That's the difference between me and you. I am.
Yeah, no.
Me and Jarvis are very cautious when it comes to that. Because like we said, let's just say Luke Shaw, Casemiro, Anthony, these people on certain big wages. Rashford don't fit in. And he's like, listen, they don't fit into my way. I mean, he says here, look, I will do everything for the team. I will defend my players if I have to all the time against anybody. That's the key point for me.
No, I think the last thing that Amorim wants to do in his first 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, I would imagine that the last thing he would want to do is start making enemies, start picking fights with players in the squad, trying to figure out who is my guy, who is not my guy. This seems like a fight that we would have in the summer, right? Right now, all he needs to do is galvanize the squad. He should still be on observing mode, be observing the players, be observing who is willing to listen to your instructions, who takes more to your instructions. I'm also looking for him to, how do I put it now? I'm looking for him to see things in the players that we, the fans, cannot see yet, right? I think the easiest example that people have said is moving Anthony from right wing to left back. I'm looking to see Amorim be creative in that regard also, right? So show me something from this squad that we haven't seen from from them previously. But yeah, I think Amorim would get a chance to shape the squad in the way that he wants to, right? I think his remit this season would be create the identity this season, get the players playing well and feeling good, like motivated, move us up in the table, and then in the summer we'll figure out who is part of your plans or not. I think it's been a mistake for him to come in right now and start making enemies or one player or the other player, or trying to like prove a point that okay, you're not my guy, something like that. He didn't have a preseason. He's walking into a dressing room that probably already has some factions within it, right? There are probably cliques, and cliques within cliques, and there's the relationship aspect of everything too. So my advice to Amorim would just be take it easy right now, get the best out of the squad that you have till January, and then till the summer. But I think Ineos will back him. Long story short.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's just go quickly. People, have you liked the video? We're not even 100 likes yet. Honestly, I'll have to do the poll. Big up to everybody though. Please smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Yeah, we're about 60 short of 11,800. Channel still shadow banned, but we're doing it in these streets, people. We're still doing it. We're still here. We're refusing to go. Video. I think one of the key things he said, Jarvis, and left. So he said that it's not about the style of play; it's about the characters. So if the people have the right characters, I think he will give them the instructions to succeed, to be able to get in the team. What did you think about that comment?
Yeah. Oh, bless you. No, I think when it comes to Ruben Amorim, and I think every coach would like character in their team. It's nothing new. You want characters in your squad. That's how professional football is. But I think it demands something special, and I'm not sure what it is. But when he talks about team. He talks about being humble when you sit on the bench. Talking about being able to switch positions. So for me, I think character is in a way not too big of an ego. Being humble enough to be a part of a bigger system and accept it, not trying to be the one that is going to save the day, but actually trust Amorim. I think that's the type of character he wants. I think if he gets the players to trust him and understand that, okay, Rashford, you're on the bench. Okay, if Rashford accepts that, not making a fuss, not throwing his toys out of the pram, and other players like this, I think that's the type of character he wants. It's not about being the guy who goes out and runs himself down to the ground every game, or of course it's also that, but I think for me, I think it's more of the mental character, being strong enough to understand that you're part of a team and accept that you're part of the team and do your role. I think that's the character he wants. But I don't know. How do you guys see? What do you think Ruben Amorim means when he says character?
I think it was interesting that he said that he, as a player, played left back, right back, defender, defensive midfield, attacking midfield, and he's also been on the bench. And he said he understands what it feels like to be a player sitting on the bench. And I think it was important that he said that. And hopefully some of that understanding, I guess, can, translate into the players. Because I think that's the most important part, managing the expectations of these players, managing their feelings also, right? Getting everybody to feel like they are part of the squad. So if Rashford is going to be on the bench, I would prefer if Amorim was able to manage Rashford, to make him still feel like a part of the squad. Same thing goes for Casemiro. Same thing goes for Johnny Evans. Everybody in the team needs to feel like they have a role to play in the team. So even if you're a bench player whose job is to play during the FA Cup or Carling Cup, take pride in that role, right? If your role is to come on the 70th minute, take pride in the role. And I think that's Amorim's job. Get everybody to feel like you have a role to play, whether or not you're in the starting 11 or you're on the bench.
I mean, he says it clearly here. He says that bring in Leicester. So a lot of people talk about 3-4-3, 4-3-3, and all these things, but when you think about teams, not the system or the formation, it's the character of the players, the way they see the club. And he said 100%. That everybody, when they sign, the players need to see the history and not be scared of the history as well, innit? That was fascinating. That was the most I was a bit like giddy because people fucking died playing for this fucking football club. They gave their life for this fucking football club. So, yeah, big up. Go ahead, Lesso.
But that goes back to his statement where he said, in the beginning, where he said he's going to defend these players. So Alex did that as well in the media, if you think about it. But, you had to give him your all on your pitch as well for him to continue to do that. So I think that's the message that's been sent, and it's clearly going to be communicated with these group of players, that he's not here to, throw anyone under the bus or do any of that sort. He has his own way of doing things, and if you don't repay him, then you're out. And it's actually fair when you think about it, because if he does that with anyone who's out of line, then everyone's gonna follow suit now. They're gonna understand that what they need to do, what their jobs are. And unlike when someone gets preferential advantage or that sort of thing. Yeah, in a sense. They in that sense they won't, if you give him players that sort of thing, then it obviously divides everyone. So I like the fact that he said that, and it's clear for everyone to see, and he follows through with it, because that's the most important part. We've had managers come here and say, that player, there's no everyone's gonna be equal. I'm gonna treat everyone equal. No one is above the club. And then yet some people get away with certain things, some can't get away with them. That sort of thing's not gonna work. If you're gonna come with that approach, you're ultimately out of the door. You're 1 foot out of the door already. So he's gonna follow suit. He knows this. He's retired. Like, he retired just not a few years ago. So it's still fresh. And to be fair, with Solskjaer, he wasn't the player that played every game as well. And so that didn't work with him, with the players at Man United, that he didn't play. So but Amorim is different, because he's obviously he knows how the modern day player works. He knows that certain players have different characteristics and have to be treated a certain way according to their characteristics. So that would be interesting to see how he deals with this. But yeah.
Nordin, I have a follow-up question on the character thing, because I'm sorry for bulging in, but when it comes to character, and he demands character, out of the players we do have in this group of players, because we know we have to work with what we got, and we're not going to get an overhaul because of the financial situation of the club. Out of the players we do have in the club, can you name 5 players with the right character?
I think that's a tricky question, Jarvis, right?
I think Lissandro's got it. I think Lissandro's got that character. That doesn't mean, by the way, players who can lose form or make mistakes. So I'm not making out people who don't make mistakes, but I think Lissandro has the character. I do think Masraoui has the character.
De Ligt
has the character. I think, but he's also prone to mistakes. Some people might agree, but I think Malacia has the character. He's a fighter on a football pitch. That's 4.
I'll put Casemiro on that list as well.
Ugarte fights. Ugarte. So 3 of the new signings and 2 players. Amad's got the character.
What I take that question to mean is strength through adversity, right? And your ability to remain grounded, your ability to remain motivated, your ability
to be fair, Maguire gets a shout for that.
Maguire to me
he's crap. I don't rate him, but as a character, he took a lot of stick and he actually just got on with it. Go ahead, Sean.
The other thing I would say is that, I think a lot of these players, haven't had good examples, whether in the dressing room, on the touchline, or on TV, they haven't had good examples. I think Ten Hag tried to bring the whole discipline and philosophy thing, and maybe he took it too far. But I think the character stuff is something that can be molded. Because prior to Arteta coming to Arsenal, you could have said the same thing that those Arsenal players lacked character. But that's as a result of the manager, as a result of the way the team spirit has come, that character has been built. So I want Amorim to build the character in these players. Also, there are some leaders in the squad, like we just mentioned some of them. Licha, Delete. I'll put Diallo on that list too. I'll put Diogo Diallo on the list as well. Mazraoui, Casemiro.
Do you think Casemiro has the character?
I think
After
so.
we showed last season, he's been up and down, and we didn't even get to play the FA Cup final, and he was
I do
dreadful.
think when he's on the pitch, he wants to fight. I think character means you give it your all. Even you can make mistakes. Maguire, he's not good enough. He's not a modern centre back. He gets exposed. We can't play really high line.
I wouldn't say give it your all.
He come back from adversity.
Yes,
and I think Casemiro this season has come back from the adversity from last season.
I think that strength of character to be able to, one, not let the badge overwhelm you, and two, be able to keep your head high, even in times of this thing. I wouldn't say putting your all, because Bruno gives his all, but to me, character-wise, he's not the strongest character in the dressing room, but he gives his all on the pitch. And there's some other players like that. So I think there's already a foundation in this dressing room right now, in this squad, of people with some strong characters. People like Johnny Evans, who have actually lifted a Premier League trophy in their lives, being in this dressing room, very important. People like Casemiro, that experience, I think, is very, very important for these players. And the character should come from Amorim. The swag, the aura, the confidence should be from the manager flowing on through to the players. So I think you're bound to see, if everything goes well, you're bound to see the same set of players look very different in a couple of weeks now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I see of this group of players, I see a lot of players who not have the character. But I think you are right with the guys you are mentioning, and I would also like to mention I think Kobe Mainoo has the right character when it comes to this. But we also have players like I'm very unsure when it comes to Rashford, Anthony, Garnacho even. For me, Casemiro, I'm quite sure that he had a fallout with Ten Hag after being played as centre back, and Casemiro didn't like it, and he got dropped for the FA Cup final because of that. So it tells me a little bit about his character, getting on the wrong side of the manager because he's not getting played in the right position, and I think that's not the right character that Amorim is looking for. So I think character is something everybody can say they have character, but it's in the moment of need, when you have to show you have character. You have to have the right attitude.
The Ten Hag versus Casemiro thing, and me being Ten Hag's biggest defender, right? I think Casemiro, from Casemiro's perspective, he felt disrespected by Ten Hag. He felt like he was being scapegoated. So I think in his interview, he mentioned the Liverpool game, Casemiro I'm talking about, brought up how everybody threw him under the bus after Liverpool. I think Ten Hag said something silly one day when he subbed off Casemiro and he asked him, why did you sub Casemiro? He said, because I wanted to play football. So what are you implying? That Casemiro cannot play football? Basically, I think Casemiro was willing to show up wherever you asked him to play. Centre back, midfield, wherever. And with regards to Rashford and Garnacho, I don't know if everybody in the squad needs to have the same strong mentality. And listening to the likes of Gary Neville and Rio Ferdinand talk, you don't need everybody to be on that same wavelength. What you need is a core group of leaders, right? A core group of very strong leaders who are willing to call out bullshit when they see it and who have the respect of the other players in the dressing room. The problem we have right now is that the most respected players in our squad, people like Johnny Evans, people like Tom Heaton, don't play often. Our captain is a whiny little bitch, right? So I don't think he has that much respect, basically, from the players in the squad. Senior men like Casemiro also, they are one leg in, one leg out, so they don't really engender that kind of respect. And somebody like Rashford, who is supposed to be a senior man, right? I think he's too within himself to lead. So Rashford is fine if Rashford and Garnacho are a bit sensitive. I think in the United squad, we also had guys like Nani, Ronaldo that year, people who were a bit, light on their feet, crybaby somewhat. But in that same squad, you also had Rio, Vidic, as in Scholes, Giggs, guys who were, willing to show up and be counted. So it's okay if there are people like Garnacho and Rashford there, as long as the core group also still remains. And I like the Onana, Martinez, Delete. That's foundation, very solid. Mazraoui also, no nonsense, very solid. Casemiro and Ugarte, no nonsense, very solid. I think that foundation allows people like Rashford and Garnacho to be light-hearted, light, soft, whatever. But yeah, I think there's enough in this squad basically, and with motivation from Amorim, we can do business.
Yeah.
So, what did you think the players who got characters? Go ahead.
Okay, who, me?
Yeah,
Lesso.
you, and then Lesso, and then you can answer your own question, Jarvis.
No, I answered my question, so Lesso can go. Lesso.
Yeah, I think Casemiro, I'm including in that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear
We
me?
can hear you, Lesso. Go ahead. We can hear you, yeah.
Okay. All right. No. Obviously, with the likes of despite the adversity that he has faced, he's still here. Well, as much as I don't really rate him that much, but you have to always give credit to someone who's very strong-headed, and level-headed, and no matter the criticism, they come out and they do what they need to do on the pitch. They don't sulk. And he'll always give his all. Mazraoui will always give his all. That you can see that that's the type of character they have. I mean, he comes from the Ajax academy, so they always have that mentality. It's drilled within them to be like that. So you can also say, pretty much everyone you guys rounded up. I think they more or less make up the strong characters. That whichever under any other manager, every manager, he's gonna run through a brick wall. So it's not even a thing where we're gonna question him, on his dedication and on his commitment. So you need those type of players. You need type of those core players that you can rely upon. No matter the adversity, they'll come and run through a brick wall for you. But now it's the question of trying to, influence the rest of the squad to be able to be on the same wavelength, and that's the important factor here. If you can do that, then, you can pretty much, even on a bad day, it doesn't matter. We're still going to run the next team. We're going to cover more distance than the next team. We're going to outfight the next team. So, and times like that, you find that we lose games because we just didn't do that. It's not even about our lack of quality. It's because we just didn't match the opposition in terms of, in terms of the fight on the pitch. The players didn't want to run. They were lazy. Some days they feel like running. Some days they don't feel like running. So you have to instill that. That's the most important thing in the Premier League. You can't survive without that. If you're having a bad day, you lose. If you can't fight, you can't match the opposition. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he deals with that. But I think he'll get people on side, and those who are not on side, they'll leave. That's just how it's gonna go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have a story. I didn't hear your question to your own answer. If you could just
I just want to say I can bring up this if you guys want to see it. This is the payroll table of Man United, and out of the top 10, I would at least 5 of these players not having the right character. I'm not going to sit there and throw out names because I think you know who I'm talking about, but a lot of these players don't have the right character, and this is the biggest issue. They are on the top 10 earning list of the club and making a lot of money. You see here 18.2 million, 15.6 million. 13 million, so it's a lot of money, and these are the guys I think, have the need to work on their mentality in a way. So I think we all know who we're talking about, and I think this is what Amorim needs to work with, because I think some of them are, their ego has become too big for their own good in a way when it comes to performing on the team. I think they can do it, and they do it sometimes when they want to, but not all the time. And this is the biggest problem. As a manager, you need to rely on your players to be there every game, and every game is week out, week in for the full season. And you have to do this if you want to be a winning team. You can't just perform every third game or every fourth game, or have bad patches for 3 months and then come back and have a couple of good games and then be injured again. And so this is the biggest problem. We need to clean out a lot of these players, and I don't think it's easy for Amorim to change the attitude of some of these players. I think it's been tried time in and time out, and I'm not convinced that he will manage it, because I think as Alien Tenno mentioned earlier in the chat, Man United and the Premier League is a different beast. It's not the Portuguese league. It's not Sporting we are talking about. And I think Amorim soon will realize this, and it will become a problem.
Big wake up call.
No, I
Big
mean,
wake
but
up
he
call.
sounds like he knows what he's getting himself into, right? And I think these players, like the fans, the players don't select themselves. They don't pick themselves to start. And Amorim's job is to make sure that any day that Marcus Rashford or Bruno Fernandes or any of these guys on that list of most expensive players, any day that they're on the pitch, they are playing because they deserve to be playing, not because their name is Rashford, not because their name is Bruno, or because their name is Anthony, but they are playing because they deserve to be playing. That's Amorim's job now. Amorim's job is to keep these players honest. Because I think, unlike you guys, I actually believe that these players, for the most part, generally want to play. They want to turn up, and they want to perform at their best. Some of them, like Rashford, basically have how do I put it now? His mental state, the legacy of him coming through at age 18, having the weight of United placed on his shoulders, not being able to live up to the expectation, working under LVG, then Mourinho, then Solskjaer, then Ragnick, then Ten Hag, and now Amorim. Maybe he does this to go somewhere else, but at the same time, I think Amorim's job, again, for me, Amorim's job is to identify the best attributes of these players that he has, and to use them in a way that keeps them honest. Because I think if you have a squad, like look at Liverpool now, for example. I don't think Jota or Nunes or what's the other guy's name, Diaz, generally complain about playing time, because they all kind of get rotated, and when they are brought in, they deliver. So that's the ideal scenario that I want for us for United, or a situation where a team is afraid regardless of who's starting. If it's Rashford starting, if it's Garnacho starting, you are afraid, and if one of them is coming from the bench, you are afraid, because they are both banging in goals and they are both playing well. Generally. So I think like the character thing comes from a manager, one, instilling confidence in the players, like put confidence in them. And that confidence comes by winning games. By seeing the fruits of the manager's ideas work in practice, right? Ten Hag lost his squad, I think, largely because what he was saying and what they were doing on the pitch was not aligning. He wasn't able to communicate his ideas. His ideas were not working. We kept losing. The players lost faith, lost confidence, etc., etc. Amorim needs to have these players have confidence and belief in him. And if they have belief in him, then they will have belief in themselves, because he's their manager. So, I mean, for me, everybody, I think we've had this argument already. Everybody gets a clean slate. Everybody on that list, because it's not their fault that they get paid so much money. Let's blame the Glazers. It's all of that is the Glazers' fault. Everything you showed on that list is all the Glazers' fault. This is a new regime. It's going to be hard to get rid of them, but hopefully Amorim knows what he is walking into. I like to think that by now he would have spoken to the players in the dressing room. He would have spoken to at least all of them, if not most of them, whether one-on-one or as a group. So I think I expect to see good things from all those players that you showed on that list. Honestly, I expect to see good things from them. Because I think for me, football is really about form and vibes and confidence. And if these players are confident, you will see a different environment. Amorim's job is to maintain that minimum standard. So when Rashford does drop off, when his head drops, that's Amorim's job then to pick him up, basically. And if he's too far gone, then we'll get rid of him. I don't think Ineos will bat an eye, really, about getting rid of any of these guys. Casemiro is probably on his last season here, so he'll be gone soon. Rashford, I think, will go if we don't get the best out of him. Anthony, I think we're stuck with him for the next couple of years. But yeah, I think for me, it's really about confidence and about Amorim getting results on the pitch.
Sean,
yeah.
So, I don't know if you have read about the leader styles, how to be a good leader and create systems. And there's basically two types of system. You can be a good, what do you call it, man manager. As you said, if Rashford has a bad game, it's Amorim's responsibility to pick him up. But you also have the other type, and that's the system leader who creates a good system. And the system will pick up Rashford if he has a bad game. So it's not Amorim's responsibility. It's the group, it's a club, it's a system around. So if you build a good structure of the club, they will pick up Rashford if he has a bad spell. It's not Amorim's responsibility, and I think this is where a lot of managers go wrong because it's on them to get the players to go back in performing, and they lose focus on what's important, and that's the group of players and the system. And you have to keep in mind the group of players all the time. You can't take your eyes off the group of players and use your energy on Rashford, because then I think you have already lost. So for me, I really hope that Amorim goes for this system model and create a structure, not go into the responsibility of picking up players.
I think he said that. I think he said the team is the most central thing, not the individuals.
Yeah.
He said that in one of his answers. He said, it's not about the individual performances, that individuals can shine in the system. He talked about the system first. Listen, a lot of you lied to me, and when I asked you, have you liked the video, it's like 96 of you liked the video. We're not even 100 likes. We've been live for 1 hour and 13 minutes. So it shows you're lying. So I've just put on a little teaser for you guys. That we want to go move into that conversation now. Do you want Pogba back? For me personally, no. Pogba wanted to leave 3 times. We should have let him go. I partly think we ruined his career because he was the ambassador of Adidas, and that's what the banker wanted, Ed Woodward. I think we wish him nothing but the best and luck. I just don't want to get back into that. He's going to be 32, 31 already. He's become very injury prone now. He's become really injury prone. He had a lot of injuries at Juventus when he went there. So at the end of the day, I wish him nothing but the best, but we need to move forward. What we need to do is find the next Pogba. Is he from Le Carrington, or is he from somebody where we can get him? That's where I want.
We have Sekou Kone now. My response would be somewhat contradictory in the sense that while Pogba was here, I think he was more than a few players. I think an example of the toxic player FC stuff. And that battle between Pogba and Mourinho, the club was wrong to back Pogba, and the fans were wrong to back Pogba. And I think Pogba has himself to blame, I think, largely for where his career ended. However, I think he has learned his lesson. And if there's a free agent for Pogba who is willing to take a pay cut and come and play for United and is chastened, he's humbled, he's no longer under the guise that he's like a superstar footballer. He just wants to get somewhere to play. I look at Pogba the way I look at Eriksen and Johnny Evans. I just think there's too much quality basically in Pogba for us to pass up the opportunity. Apparently, it's a fake story. It's not true. But if Amorim was able to manage Pogba and manage the team, I would welcome him back in a heartbeat. All things have passed away. I think Pogba as a player is just too good for us to pass up the opportunity to. He will be like Eriksen. He will be like Johnny Evans. He's 32 years old. He has seen a lot in this life. I think he has learned his lessons from his past. I think he will be humble now, or more humble now than before. I think he'll be more willing to accept a bit part position in the team as a substitute player or as a bench player. So the quality that he brings, I think, for me, is too much to pass on. I'll welcome him back.
Yeah, as you guys see here, Fabrizio Romano reported reports of Paul Pogba to train at Man United Carrington are not true. So basically, I don't know where this came from, but we can call it international.
Some Belgium journalists, some muppet just clickbaiting during the international break. Yeah.
So
I mean, it might have been a trial
to
balloon.
answer the question, I wouldn't take Pogba back. No way. You know, he was a brilliant player at his time. Too injury prone. Been there, done that. I think we're done. 2 times is enough.
Yeah.
I think there's some truth to this. What Shaharian is saying. Some of the fans treated him with a bunch of hypocrites. Didn't have the same energy. So the English players, facts that happened. I really think that happened. And especially when he wanted to go on. And I genuinely, deep down, think Paul Pogba in his head, he's thinking about Manchester United and wanting to come back to Manchester United. He's gone through a lot in his career, especially towards the end, with his brothers and so-called friends who were holding him ransom. He doesn't want to come back here.
Maybe he can come back and dig up the hyena that he buried on the Old Trafford. The Jazz.
Remove the curse.
Remove the curse physically from us.
Yeah.
I would welcome him back for that. No, but it's not like he'll be coming back as a first team player now, right, guys? Like he won't be coming back as our midfield signing. Like if we're looking at a bench.
Let me just get what Lesso saying. 1 second, Sean. Lesso, what do you think?
No.
By the way, I genuinely don't think Paul Pogba ever wants to come back to Manchester United. I'm just letting it know.
No, I don't think he would himself. To be honest, I think that's one of the journeys there that he has scratched out. I mean, he wanted to leave, guys, 3 times. And that's not a coincidence. He just didn't feel like the environment suited him. It was just all over the place for him. It didn't work out. So he wanted out. I mean, the club also lied about us wanting to be ambitious. Let's not forget that when they brought him in, they told him that we were going to be trying to win Premier League titles and Champions League. We didn't even follow through. We are not even 20% near that. So, I mean, he looks at that and it's betrayal in a way. And people usually, when they're in that sense, like they've given up on everything. So, he has already given up on the club and everything. So I don't think he'd even look at coming back here. I think he'd want to progress his career elsewhere and start up fresh away from Man United or anything related to any of his past. Juventus, let's not forget, he played for Juventus before he came back to Man United. So in essence, he wants a fresh start. He doesn't want to be bouncing from one club to another, both clubs that he played for. So I can see him going elsewhere as a fresh start.
Yeah, I just want to say on Pogba, my concern with Pogba is, he's such an influensive player that he can make us better and make the team better if he wants to, but he can also make us worse if he chooses to. So his ability to influence the team in both directions, that worries me. So I wouldn't take him back because of that.
You mean like as a personality in the dressing room?
Both as a player on the pitch and as a personality. I think that's a big problem. I think he's a great character at sometimes, but sometimes I think he's also he can be a little bit too negative. I think he has. We all remember the Raiola comments all the time, So he created a lot of negative press for Man United.
I think Pogba was
that could have been avoided.
Like a perfect example of everything that was wrong with the modern footballer, with the modern day footballer, and I think his career went the way it went because of these blind spots that he had as a person and the kind of rubbish that came along with him and his agents, Raiola, and all the other things that clearly he had the sense he had of himself that wasn't matched up with the football that he was playing. I don't buy the whole, the media and all that kind of bullshit. I know many fans want to harp on that. But I think for me, Pogba has nobody to blame but himself for the way his career went. I just feel like he seems like he has learned his lesson. I think Pogba would do whatever you told him to do right now if it means that he will play football again. He will do anything and whatever it takes. And I'm not looking at him as a starting player. I'm not looking at him as a mainstay in the squad. It's just if we're to get the Johnny Evans treatment of train with us, come and sit down on the bench, it's still Pogba. Why not? But yeah, no, it probably costs more drama than we need, honestly. So
So you would
yeah,
take him?
I would take him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think player quality. I think there's just I wouldn't take him as a starting player. I would have him the way we have Ericsson as a quality option on the bench. I think Pogba on the bench immediately improves our team overall. It will really come down to Amorim and his strength of, because I agree with you that Pogba is a big personality, he's a big
Mm.
character, and if he's not happy, I think that would affect the dressing room.
Yeah.
So he would need a good manager to manage it, and I think also maybe the media drama. This is England. If he comes back, it will be news every day. Pogba, Pogba, Pogba. Yeah, we're probably better off without him coming back. But
Mm.
just me personally, I would love to see him. I forgive him for his shortcomings at United, and I would welcome him back.
Yeah. I just want to answer Gudi in the chat. They say we have absolutely zero evidence that he's a bad individual. Yeah, he's not a bad individual. I'm not trying to say that Pogba is a bad individual. I'm
He's a
talking
strong
about
personality.
He's talking about the strong character in the dressing room.
he's a strong character, but all the negative fuss that was created by Pogba's agent and everything that went around, So I know a lot of that was uncalled for. It was unfair.
I've got a point of view.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I've got a point of view. I've got a point of view of I think Mina Raiola was left to no choice but to do what he did to get his client out of the club. And
I don't think Raiola
because I've seen Mina Raiola. Let me finish, and I respect you guys. You said you had your say. Let me bring my 2 pence. I think Mina Raiola wanted Paul Pogba out of Manchester United because Paul Pogba really wanted to go. Because I've not seen Mina Raiola saying all the things that he said about any of these players who were signed under his agency and doing that to other clubs, because other clubs had bought integrity and they would leave in and they didn't sign a player because of a fucking Adidas deal, because he was an Adidas ambassador. That's the fucking difference, people. The way Paul Pogba was treated, the xenophobia, the Islamophobia, the fucking anti-black racism within the British media was all there. Paul Pogba's never fallen out of a club. Paul Pogba was never seen with a young girl or young woman out and about. Paul Pogba, loads of people made lies about Paul Pogba's character and what he was. He was actually quite dedicated to what he wanted to do. He was actually a family guy. He would do training, go to a restaurant, you know what I mean, hang out with friends. He liked dancing because that's part of African fucking culture. And just because it's not part of your fucking culture, that doesn't mean that he can't do that. It's a fundamental fucking right. For some African cultures, dancing is like eating, sleeping, and fucking breathing. That's what it's like. So this idea, to me, a lot of it was littered in xenophobia, in Islamophobia. And I will never forget the biggest Islamophobe, so-called Manchester United fan, Stephen Bauer. Go and look him up. That's his fucking name. Paul Pogba was injured. He was at the back of a car. I think it was towards the end of Ramadan. Paul Pogba was in a car with friends, and he was sat at the back watching a video of Mecca, Medina, and watching the prayers. And he's like reciting some of it. And Manchester United lost that game. Paul Pogba, mind you, has been injured for more than 2 weeks at this time. And that video was shared on social media. And Stephen Power shared that video while Ryan Giggs, I think, and Paul Scholes were sitting in the studio and said, look what he's doing. What the fuck do you mean, look what he's doing? And Ryan Giggs sat there and said, oh, this is not unacceptable. Fuck off, you prick. You fucking wife beater. Fuck off. You heard? You fucking pricks. And then Wayne Rooney goes on a channel and lies because he wanted to get headlines out there. And that's why I've lost all respect that I had for Wayne fucking Rooney. He said Manchester United lost the game and Jesse Lingard and Paul Pogba were dancing in a dressing room afterwards. That is a complete fucking lie. That was a total fucking fabrication of what really happened. Paul Pogba, actually, in character, is a bad loser. He doesn't like fucking losing. He's the type of guy that would sit in a dressing room. And this is from people within the fucking dressing room who played with him, who personally told me that, and I've asked. And you can guess who that player was. If you go and look back on the videos, is somebody that I was quite friendly with. He used to come into my former workplace a lot. A lot. And I had a very good talking communication with. And he's not the type of guy to make up fucking lies. It was Juan fucking Mata. And I'm happy to go on record and say Juan Mata said everything that they've written about Paul Pogba, he was not that guy. He's actually really humble.
But his brother and Raiola,
Yeah.
they all
Because they
think,
wanted him out.
and
They
all
wanted
the
him out of
things,
the football club.
yeah, and all the things with France, he was always injured. But whenever there was an international break, he was miraculously healed again and could play for France. And he was injured when he came back again. So
Let me
we
just
know
say
the
this.
cycle, and he tries to force a move.
Just 1 second.
Out
No.
of the club.
You can come in 1 second. Matteo, nobody's saying you're racist. And nobody's saying, you don't have to say you have black friends, Asian friends. Nobody, you don't have to say that. That's corny. I don't want Pogba back because Pogba is an injury-prone player, right? I don't want Pogba back, right? Sean is telling you everything about his career was up to him, right? To me, he should have gone AWOL and left the fucking football club. He told them 3 times. I will never blame a player wanting to get the fuck out of the football club. Never.
Yeah,
I never begged fucking Wayne Rooney. I never begged Wayne Rooney when everybody was going around to Rio Ferdinand's house because they saw him with in a restaurant with the former Manchester United CEO and his agent in London. When people were going around to his house with baseball bats, I knew some of those people. I was like, fucking let him go. I'm always the believer Manchester United's bigger than any other fucking player. We've had some of the greatest players play for this football club, and they've all come and went. So this idea, for me, was not about that. But Jarvis, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just, before I forget, I wanted to pick that up. So carry on, sorry. Repeat what you were saying, and I'll mute.
No problem. I was finished. I just said there was some problems with Pogba that was evident. You know that, as I mentioned, with his manager, his brother, and the whole constantly being able to play for France and not for United. I think it made a lot of the fan base look at Pogba the wrong way. And I understand that there was a lot of things that was bullshit. You can't criticize Pogba for dancing, or you can't criticize him for being a good Muslim or whatever. You know, that's the bullshit you get with Man United. There's always a lot of noise. 50%, maybe more, is not true. So, you know, I'm not having a go at Pogba when it comes to all of those things. It's about the constant noise you had with a player like him in the club, and I think we were better off without him in a way. All respect for him as a player, he was fantastic. I remember the Arsenal game when we won 3-2 away at Highbury. Paul Pogba was unstoppable that game, for example. So he was fantastic at sometimes for our club. And him and Zlatan had a great relationship. So many good through balls on Zlatan that first season of Mourinho. He was a good player. He didn't get the backing he needed, and he got a lot of stick because of things that he couldn't control. But at the end of the day, he could have done better.
No. Listen,
that's where I am as well. I think he could have done better for himself.
That Jarvis, I 100% agree with you. That I 100% agree with you. The fact that he was fit, the fact that like most of them, Maguire, sure, they all get excited playing for international games. What does that say about our culture in the club, where players are more excited to play for their countries than they are to play for the?
And we still have the culture. Luke Shaw in the Euros.
Yeah, exactly. So this idea, for me, one of the things was that all the blame was on Pogba. Yes, because he was the most talented. He was the most talented. But was he consistent? No, he was not fucking consistent. So if anybody has anything bone to pick about Pogba's performances, fair facts, I would come here and say exactly the same thing, Jarvis. But the idea, the British media, I'm fucking 100% right about that. And Juan Mata, right, it's not a fucking guy who lies. Juan Mata is not a guy who lies. Go on and look, read everything you know about Juan Mata. Juan Mata said Paul Pogba was not that guy. He was not that guy. He was a fucking sore loser when we lost. He was devastated. So go and look that up. Could he have played better? Yes. But could anybody have played better? And by the way, I compare his first season to fucking anybody in the last 12 years. Go and look at the fucking stats of his first season. He was fucking phenomenal. And a lot of times when Ollie came, he was the central figure in Ollie's team.
He was.
Before he got injured. So let's not have this. No player has come and did anything because we have a rotten fucking culture. But Mina Raiola and his brother and Paul Pogba himself wanted to get the fuck out of this football club but they signed him on a deal for the ambassadorial bullshit thing with Adidas. That's why he was signed. And the people who lied to him was fucking Ed Woodward. You need to take that up with him.
Yeah.
But
and you have Graham Souness, not to mention Graham Souness.
And I will never defend any footballer against criticism. But when I see the bullshit, I will always call it out as I fucking see it. And it was xenophobia, it was fucking racism, it was Islamophobia. And if you don't believe me, go on fucking Google Stephen Bauer, Paul Pogba. Type that into fucking Google. Ryan Giggs. Stephen Bauer, commentator now, who used to work for the club. He's a Manchester United fan. He used to work at actually MUTV. That's where he started doing some of the commentary. Go and check it out. Go and check it out. You think I'm fucking joking? So that's what you need to go and check it out. Could he have been consistent? 100 million%. Did he have some stinkers? 100 million%. Did he sometimes look like he was playing like he didn't want to be here? 100%. Because he didn't want to be fucking here. Were people talking about his haircuts and dancing? Yes. But Man United was shit. And I'll have in mind, the club was encouraging that shit because he was bringing more and more people were buying with his shirt and the whole Adidas thing with Stormzy and everything else. Yeah. Let me just have a look to see how many likes we got on the video and the poll. Yeah, 62%, 63, 62 said no, 38% of you said yes, that you would have impact. I don't think we're even on 100 likes, you know. Wow. The crowd tonight, wow.
Come on, guys, smash the like. Smash the like. Everybody now, take your time, take up your phone, hit the like. Help out the channel.
Exactly. Here, we talk open and honest. We give our views, and everybody's views welcome. Nobody gets silenced here. Nobody. No, because I asked him, listen, when you develop a relationship with somebody, Mata told me loads of different things about Manchester United. Loads of different things. And some of the things I have not. Mata is one of these guys, he would tell me. He told me about some of the players that were not all that. So it is what it is. But big up Mata. Absolute gent. Absolute genuine.
194 likes. It helped, Nordin. 6 more. Come on, people. Smash the like. We want to get to 100 before we end the show. So keep on
big up
smashing
to everybody.
the like.
But yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
90.
You lot are a big disgrace. 140, only 90 likes. Yeah, big up Sheikh Arian. Big up Sheikh Arian. Without him, the show's never the same, man. Big up Sheikh Arian. Arian, listen, you need to change so people can follow you on Twitter. You need to change what your at is. You need to tell me what your at is on Twitter. I like Mata. He couldn't reach his full potential. No, because he was always played at a position. If you want the honest truth, he was always played at a fucking position. Yeah. I mean, he was a number 10, and we played him where, Jarvis? Played him on the wings.
Yeah, he was a winger. I don't know why, but he was never a winger.
Yeah.
Mm.
He was never a winger.
No.
But yeah, go ahead, Leicester. What are you saying about Pogba? Well,
Yeah,
how
no.
was it from living outside of the UK? How was it from your perspective? What did you see in terms of the
Yeah,
media?
no. No, I always thought that, the media, when it comes to foreigners, man, it is what it is. They always going to be like that towards, he's gonna get the amount of pressure he's always gonna get. Personality wise, they're not gonna understand him as well. So from the onset, yes, there was already a witch hunt, and we knew this because they were gonna also use the fact that he left, the first time around. That was always gonna be a factor, and you saw it even with Cristiano Ronaldo when he came back. There was already a witch hunt of him leaving when he left for Real Madrid as well. So it's done with a lot of foreign players per se. But I always thought that he wasn't gonna fit here at Man United. I thought he should have went to Real Madrid personally from Juventus that time. I didn't think Man United was a good place for him first and foremost. The environment was just too shaky. We were all over the place. The club didn't know what they were gonna. They had no objectives. The club had no laid out objectives. You didn't know what you're gonna get from the Glazers, as opposed to at least Ineos saying that they want to win league titles. They've even in the next few years they're not even gonna wait that long. With the Glazers, it was just all over the place. It was a clown show in a sense. So for us, it was for then, and I always knew that it was commercially based. It wasn't really for us having a plan, having a plan for players before we signed them. It was just about us having people who can sell shirts. So there was just no genuine plan about it. And for me, I was not as excited as many fans were when he joined, because we've seen big players join this club. We've seen the likes of Di Maria join, and there was just no clear plan as to what the club wanted to do, with these players. They just wanted to put players on the field and then hopefully attract sponsors and money. And that's it, and it was all about social attraction. So, and in the sense now, I mean, now we talk about, going forward and stuff. If maybe you're telling me we have a structure now and everything, and young Paul Pogba is coming through, I'd be more excited. But I wasn't that time because it was real. It was real around that. It was, in fact, I call those the dark days. I would rather want to forget about those days, where, it was just a huge dark cloud, at our football club, and there was no directions. I don't want to do that.
And Nordin, I just want to say, when it comes to this Pogba thing, do you see similarities to what we're seeing now with Rashford? The Adidas ambassador. It doesn't seem like he really likes it at Man United at the moment. There's fallouts. We remember the Belfast thing.
There's something definitely
going on. A lot of
on.
unnecessary stick on social media and by pundits. We've been talking about what happened this weekend when when he was.
Everybody's on holiday.
In New York.
Casemiro was there as well.
Yeah, but
Casemiro was at the same game.
Yeah, but do you see the similarities with Pogba and Rashford now?
Yeah, the media. To be fair, listen, the media in this country, the right-wing media had it in it for him because he embarrassed the government, a government which they supported and backed. He embarrassed them, and he embarrassed them to feeding children, Jarvis. So Rashford was always going to get it. Rashford was always going to get it. And, of course, they singled him out. Casemiro was at the same game, apparently. So this idea that Rashford, and everybody's on holiday, so he can't have nice jewelry, nice clothes, and he can't sit and watch a basketball game when he's on holiday. He's on fucking holiday. The club did that. I would not give them holiday because I'm like, are you get the fuck out of here.
This is what people were reacting to. But by the way, as you mentioned, Casemiro was on holiday with his family, Disney World. He was on that game. So, players are on holiday. We have to respect them. They have a private life. It's just the way it is. And how people dress, it's none of your business. People can dress whatever they like. That's just the way it is.
Does anybody tell you how to fucking dress? That's the thing you ask about players. No, I think it's the same thing, innit? It's the toxicity aspect of it. It's got toxic. But I genuinely do think there's something wrong with him. There's something mentally and physically not right with him. 100%. And like I tell everybody, the last time Rashford finished a game, it was the Liverpool game. The last 90 minutes he played was against Liverpool. That was very early on in the season, in the league-wise. So every other game, whether it's Europa League, whether it's the League Cup, whether it's, the shitty Europa League, he's played 60 minutes, sometimes 55, 60, 65 minutes.
Yeah.
He's coming off. Yeah, he's one of the first substitutions. So
I think he wants out. And you can tell, his demeanor, body language, everything. He's clearly out, already. His mindset is already out of the club and whatever we're trying to do. So I think he wants a fresh start somewhere. You can tell with players when they no longer want to be here, man. And I think that's what I'm getting from everything, and
yeah. It's really interesting, isn't it? Big up. I tell you, it was the Tories, innit? He embarrassed the Tory party and the people that love Boris Johnson, because he was like, kids are going to starve. And it's something he experienced himself. So that's why he put it all on the line. And his charity work is really good. He's doing a lot. He feeds a lot of people. And his mum, you know what I mean? So they do a lot of great work in and around the UK, but specifically in and around Greater Manchester. Big up for the people, man, for the likes. We'll catch you in the next one, innit? Big up. I'd like to thank Jarvis, and I'd like to thank... let me just get this to D what D said. Yeah, because the face don't fit. But to be fair, let's also be right. Maguire did face horrible things. Somebody made a hoax call to get a bomb to his house. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous as well. So let's be honest. Yeah. Let's be honest. Like Java said, they blow everything out of proportion. Yeah. Big up to everybody. Bowley, 77, Java's Corner, Monday night, 9:00. Stu, Pape, Tom, sometimes on there. Leicester Football TV, Black Rain. Make sure you check out at Sean Thomas on Twitter. And the podcast is called How We See Things, geopolitical podcast, How We See Things, and it's across all your podcast providers. Big up to the legend that is Shakarian. His name is Muzzbuzz786, if I'm not mistaken. Muzzbuzz, capital letters, and 786. So go and check him out. Yeah. Big up Mel with that one. We'll end on here, people. Big up, love and light. Free Palestine. Stop the genocide. End apartheid. Fuck Zionism. Fuck Belgium as a fucking football team. You fucking disgrace. You lose to the fucking bastard Zionist. Shame on you. Shame on you. And free Sudan, free Lebanon, free Congo, free Ogaden, free Tigray, free everybody. Anybody who's oppressed locally, domestically, internationally. And my thoughts goes out to the family and the friends of the people who tragically lost their lives in my community.
I heard.
The past night. My heart breaks for them. Solidarity and love to all the people in my community, morning. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think of going live tonight. This one fucked me up, man. Every tragedy fucks you up, but it's when it happens in your community, it's even more painful. But love and light, we stand in solidarity with everybody everywhere. Free fucking Palestine. Free the people, free the land. Fuck fucking Glazers. Fuck Ineos. And love and light. Look after each other. Hug your loved ones tighter. Let them know, because life is fucking short, people. Life is short. Love is the fucking answer. Take care.
Take care, people.
Take care.
Yeah, man. We all cry. I cry every day, bro. Every time I see some of these videos of these children, I cry. Whether it's Sudan, whether it's Congo, whether it's Lebanon, whether it's Palestine. But yeah, that genocide is, boy. Never be ashamed to cry, V. Crying is one of the most natural human emotions we can have. It's actually a release. Other than you getting tightly knots inside you, you need to let them out. That's why the body sheds emotionally. That's us clearing. You feel better, you feel drained afterward, but you feel a lot better for it. So don't ever believe the fucking hype about men don't cry, any of that shit. Don't ever get hooked on that toxic masculinity about men don't do this. Men are fucking human beings. Boys are human beings. We are bone and flesh and emotion and energy. That's what we are. Don't ever let yourself be dehumanized. And most importantly, people, never dehumanize each other. You are Tiame. Smash a like, those of you who are going to watch this later. Let us know. Are me and Java's right to be cautiously optimistic in terms of Ineos doing the job that needs to be done at this fucking football club? To basically back Amorim to the hill. To back their guy, to get rid of the players on big wages who are a waste of fucking space. Let me know in the comments. Do you want Pogba back? Let me know in the comments. Yeah. Big up the Umbra. I hope you had an amazing time. Smash the likes, people. Love and light. Take care. Good night.